times I presented, like the recording issue is still like my number one thing I forget. And I think I even put it, if you guys saw, I put it on the first slide. So welcome, welcome. All right. So with that, we are going to experience Formative. So there's a couple ways that you guys can join this Formative. I have assigned this as a guest student. So this is not the way that you would have your students join in. Formative is integrated with Google Classroom. So I usually just assign it as a Google Classroom assignment. But because I don't have you guys in Google Classroom, we're going to sign in as guests. So if you can go to formative.com/join and then enter the code here, or if you have your phone, you can use it from your phone as well. So you can scan the QR code from your phone. So I'll give everybody a minute to log on. And then once you are in it, actually, I'll be able to see you. So, so go ahead and log on. Hello, hello. All right, and if you guys have any issues, let me know, because I should have some people start joining me yet, and I'm not seeing anybody yet. So, okay. Again, I might need to refresh. It's been a little, there we go. I just needed to refresh. Apparently, it wasn't doing live updates for me like it usually does. I see people. It had me worried for a second. So I'm going to switch my screen just for a second, just so I can show you guys. I'm going to kind of be going, or I'm going to be showing you guys. So when right now I have it assigned as teacher paste. So with teacher paste, I'm in control of what you guys see. There's a couple ways that you can assign Formative to students. One of them is the teacher paste mode, like we're currently doing, or student paste, where students work at their own pace with it. So in the teacher paste mode, we have like this waiting screen, and I can see students that are in and not. Now, if I assigned this to my Google Classroom class, it would show me all of the students. And so if a student was not in, they would be grayed out. So I'd be like, yo, Johnny, why aren't you in? Come on, get with the program. Like I can target students and like see if they need extra help, which is one of the features that I really like, so that I can really see who's like on task and who's not. So this is what we're seeing in. All right, then we're gonna start it. For some reason they have this countdown. I'm not really sure why it's a countdown here, but they do. But let's go ahead. On a scale of emoji, what is your current comfort level using Formative? All right, and as I can see, most of you guys are a little like worried about it, and how I can see those results. So right now I have you guys in here. I can look and show the whole class the results, so I can kind of get an idea, and I can also see frequency. Now, because this screen right here is student facing, the default is that you guys are names are hidden, but you can change that if you need. But this is a really quick way I can look at and say, okay, most of us are feeling a little like we probably have used it before, but maybe we're not totally familiar with it, or we need a little bit more practice with it. So as a teacher, I can kind of see this, engage this, and talk about this with the results with the student. So first off, the reason why Formative. So we have, if you might have noticed, and you've been hearing Formative a lot this last year, or you're starting to hear it a lot more in our district. And the reason why is that it provides a lot of instant feedback. So instantly, I am able to tell who, my throat is getting a little like weird. I can be able to see who is on task, who is not on task. I can be able to, I just see the results. I can do a quick check for understanding, and I can use it in a lot of ways. The other reason why Formative is there's a variety of question types and responses. As we'll see in a minute, there's like pretty much anything you want to do on Formative, there's a way to do that on Formative. So everything from looking at videos and having embedded questions in videos, to having short responses, to graphing, it's all included within Formative. And then that student accountability piece. When I taught ALL, and I had very squirrely students who, in that class in particular, were very squirrely students. And I constantly, I would have my phone or like my tablet or even my computer, and I was able to see who was on task and who wasn't. So if a student was like hanging out on a question for a long time, I'd like walk over to them and be like, yo, what's going on? Like, you haven't answered this question in a while. And so I can actually see like where they are, what they're doing, and everything. The amount of data that we can get from Formative in regards to that is pretty amazing. I have one teacher over at LSL who noticed the student drop off, that when they would do Formatives in classes, she was like on it and she was getting like A's on all the questions that she was answering. But as soon as she took that home, she like stopped responding, and she was like, there was like a huge drop off before like what was happening in class and what was happening at home, and he was able to actually pull her in and like talk about that, and to the point where she was like, she was going, I don't remember exactly, but where she wanted to drop the class because she thought it was too hard, and he like was able to pull this up and be like, look, this is where I see you struggling, let's talk about this, and was really able to pinpoint the question she was struggling with and like where she was struggling, which is like huge. So it's pretty cool. The ability to switch between student paced and teacher paced lessons is also really huge. So I can present on something, give students time and workspace, and then pull them back if I see them struggling, or if I need to pull them back for whatever reason. So if I see that they're really struggling on a question, I can pull it back to teacher paced mode and we can talk about it together. And then multiple uses. You can use this from check-in questions to your entire lesson to CFAs and like district assessments. There's so many ways and different settings that we can use within Formative that it really lends itself to pretty much anything we want to do with it. So the other reason why, and we'll go more in depth on the question types, but I just want to give you an example. This is a screenshot from the Formative question types. So I can see like anything from categorizing to table matching. I can have students respond in on audio format or give a video response with it. We have graphing and like number things. As you can see, I'm like not a math person, but like we have lots of different things that we can do with Formative that really kind of enhances what we can do. So I've done this with school-wide lessons. We did our PBIS lessons on Formative, and just because I can do a lot of things within. So one example, we'll go through some of these question types and feel free to play around with it. I'm not going to grade you guys obviously on any of this stuff, but this is an example of fixed and growth mindset that we can do. So we can have, I gave them two categories of, is this an example of fixed mindset or growth mindset? And you can sort them into those categories. One thing that I want to point out is that it's not just text that I can do in here. So I can have my sentences here, but I can also have, and I'm not sure if it's going to play for you guys because I can't remember when Google Meet works, but I have a definition.
The belief that intelligence, skill, or talent is something that you are born with.
So this was something that I did with my ALL students. I wanted listening and speaking skills also with reading. And so I just read the definition versus that. And I recorded this with Formative too. So you can give audio definitions or record audio with it and have them sort through audio. We also have images that you can put in. And what I think is really cool is then you also can put in video. This is a YouTube video. So when you're putting categories or for any question type, you can also have videos as one of your answer choices. So you could say like, which video best supports this thesis statement? Or which video is the best example of this? So it's not just text that we can do and like multiple choice that we can do. There's lots of different question types here. And then as we can see on my end, or with here, I can see who's responded. So like 7 people have responded. And I can see automatically, now I have it set up where you guys can auto grade with here. So I can see who's getting things correct or not. And this one's a little bit weird with the frequency, just because there's so many choices, but I can be able to see, okay, where are they really struggling with and where are they not? This also means that we can embed checks for understanding right into the lessons. So I can upload my slides, put in those checks for understanding directly into the lessons, and I have everything in one place. Very similar to Nearpod for those that have used Nearpod before, but to me, this is a little easier to use than Nearpod was or is. Some other question types is we have shared passages here. So I can have passage 1 and then have questions directly related. So I can switch between passages, and this is very similar to like how SBAC or like other testing, formal testing will do. So I can switch between the passage and then ask questions based on those 2 passages with that. And apparently Brisk is for some reason not for me, but I'm on a new computer setup, and you know how when you log into a new computer, all of your extensions go crazy, and that's what's happening this morning. So I'm still finding like random like extension things happening. So Brisk, I don't know what you're doing right there, but there you are. Okay. The other thing that I really like about Formative is that we have this drawing feature. So you can use this in lots of different ways. So you can view the drawing here, and then students could be able to highlight things. So as an English teacher, maybe I want them to read a passage and then highlight for the claim, evidence, and reasoning. I can also use this drawing feature though to have them illustrate something. So I can have them create a poster about what they've learned directly into the program, or illustrate how they're feeling, or to do their own stuff. There's lots of different things that we can do with this drawing feature here, but you have, as a student, you have the full editing capabilities with there. I see one person has experimented with highlighting, but we have all of those there. Now, one thing I want to point out on the teacher end too, if for some reason I wanted, I can show student names too. So if I wanted to, I could show student names and discuss it in class. But like I said, the default is going to be to hide the student names because this is a student facing, it's projected to class, as they're assuming. So I can see where it is. I can show the correct answers, which there's no correct answer for this one, but I have lots of different options here. So this drawing feature is really cool. Like if you wanted to have them show an illustration or find a picture or draw or highlight or any of that stuff. The drawing feature, you can also put in images on your own. So I took that passage that we just looked at. That was just a screenshot of that I took and then uploaded it as the background of the drawing. But you can also put in charts. So you can have those charts there so students can graph something. They can put something in and be able to do that as well. There is also a graphing feature, question type embedded within Formative so that you can have students graph and be able to do that as well. And I can see some of you guys are responding, so I can see your lovely lines here. And then there's so many ways, different ways that we can do things within Formative. So one thing, and I'll show in a second, is that if you upload Google Slides, you can put in questions and it's going to be like an image and you can kind of go through the slides like a normal slide deck. You can also embed the slides here. So if you have something that you don't necessarily need a specific question on a specific slide for, embedding slides is a great way for our students to kind of go through the material similar to like they would go through a book. So you can have these slides here, have them kind of go through it with this slide deck. So this is just another option that students have of how you can reuse material that you already have or how students can view material. So this could be a better way if like you just need students to kind of go through the information, maybe answer information on the slide deck as a whole versus a specific slide. This is another way that we can demonstrate and add in things here. But with that, we can also have students, you can use PDFs or images or anything else that you have, they might already have, and you can upload it into Formative, and then you can have questions. So this claim, evidence, and reasoning paper was one that I got off of Teachers Pay Teachers. I just put it into uploaded it as a PDF and was able to insert it directly. So if you already have things, use them. Don't recreate the wheel. You can can reuse them. This is actually the reason why Formative became on my radar. Is in 2020 when we were in lockdown and having to do everything distance learning, and teachers did not want to recreate their virtual the stuff that they already had. They were like, hey, there's this program that we can take a PDF and we can embed questions directly and link the questions together. So this is just another way that we can do things already within it. And we can see there's a couple question types here. So these are mostly short answers, but you can also have fill in the blank questions and things like that as well. Before I show you the next one, I want to show you what I'm seeing on my teacher end. So on my teacher end, I am able to kind of go through and I can see a bunch of different things. So I can see the responses here and I can see every student. So I can see on the, I get a chart here and I can see what students have answered, which ones have answered correctly or incorrectly. I can see where they're at in the formative. I can also group these by standards. So I can get a lot of data and real-time data as they were going in. And I can also give students feedback. So maybe I can look at this and then I can give students individual feedback as I'm going to message and send it off. And I can also look at each of question as its individual questions itself. Ms. Morales, I see you have a question. Go ahead and.
Yes, that you say we can load down the PDF.
Mhm.
Where do we go to do that?
I'll show you once we jump into that section. I'll show you exactly how to do that and go through that.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank
Yeah, yeah. So on the teacher end, I can get all this data. So I can look at the question type. I can look at all of these different things as we're going through it. And I can also grade students. So if I can select all students, and I'm going to say select all, and I'm going to give you guys all 1 point, and I can grade it all at once, or I can go through and select the students that have the correct answer and be able to grade in batches too, which is pretty, as an English teacher and as a teacher, it's pretty awesome you can do that. And I can also give feedback for all of those students. So if I usually go through and I get all the correct answers first, and then I'll go through and get like all of like the mid questions and go through there, and I'll just type out batch feedback for those students. So I'm not having to type the same thing over and over and over again. All right, I'm almost done talking, and then we'll start exploring formative. A couple other question types I want to show you guys though is you can upload YouTube videos or any videos, and similar to an Edpuzzle, you are able to go through and put in questions at those time stamps. So a lot of what I've done, honestly, is just take my Edpuzzle videos and then just put them into here. But this is a great way, especially if you have students that once you go to another tab or go to another program, you lose them. This is another great way to keep them all in one place. I know I've had some classes that I could give them, like I could have them go to Edpuzzle, I could have them go to Google Slides, I could have them go to all these different places and they'll stay with me. But then I've also had those classes that as soon as they open up another tab, they will disappear. Like the kids will go like watch soccer instead of like paying attention in class. And yeah, to make sure that they are approved for SUHSD, because that can have some problems for students. So I think on all the YouTube videos, when you go to the YouTube videos, just there's like a watchable by SUHSD. Just make sure that it's clicked, if it's appropriate, of course. The other question types here too is we can do check marks and check boxes, so you can go through and check if you have columns or have like kind of sort through. So this was taken from a PBIS lesson that we did school-wide, that students can go through and check about which is appropriate language usage and what's not. So lots of different question types here. And then I want to make sure I focus on this, because as a ELA teacher, speaking and listening are really, really important to me. And so one thing that we can do here, and there's Brisk again popping up. One thing that we can do here is, one, I can embed the CM templates directly into this. So I can have the CM templates, I can have them there. I can also link them here. So if you click on this link, it will take you to the CM templates. So having those templates embedded directly into there. And the other thing that I really like is I really wanted students to practice writing too, like writing on paper, like physically writing. And so I had this journal that I had them do. And so I would have them write their paragraphs on paper. You can also have students upload files into Formative. So then I would have them take a picture of their paper and upload it into Formative, just so I can see that they did it and to check it. But what I really wanted them to do was to say their paragraph out loud. So directly into Formative, you can have them record their audio and have them speak directly into Formative. And then I will see that on my end with all of those recordings. So again, as speaking and listening skills are huge, and I feel like this audio recording is a very easy way to get kids to practice academic language and to get them to practice speaking. So I can, again, do that all into Formative. I do not need students to go to Flip in order to do that. I can do it all into Formative. Yes, so much time, saves so much time. And again, I would have them go to Flip and like have them use a different program. And again, with some classes, the more tabs I had them open, the more chances I was going to lose them. So again, having everything embedded in one place. You can also do videos as well, and embed the videos as well and have a video response. I usually just kept it as audio, just because kids, still get a little weird about videos, but you can do that as well within it. And then some features for PLCs that I want to make sure that we mention before we go to playtime. And this, the first one is that we are going to collaborate. So you can collaborate together. I always say, like, work smarter, don't work harder. You guys are doing great things in your PLCs, so share that work. So you can create one formative, have everybody on in your PLC on as a collaborator, and all be working together on the same formative. So this has worked really great in the PLCs that I've worked with, where they'll say, like, okay, I'm going to do question 1, I'm going to do question 2, I'm going to do question 3, and then you guys you cut down your workload so much. The other thing is that you can share to the library. So I am a big advocate for sharing to the library, but I think I'm the only one sharing to the library right now. But this, I think, is a really great opportunity for us as a district to be able to share and publish our work to the library. So let's say your PLC did like a really great lesson or have a really great assessment done in formative. We have our district collaboration days. You want to share that out, publish it to the library, and then everybody in the district will be able to see it, or specific groups within the district will be able to see it and be able to use it as well. So really great collaboration sharing stuff. And then, as I kind of mentioned earlier, the detailed reports are huge. So I get a breakdown of how my kids are doing by the class, by each student. I can even get an overview of the standards. So if I want a summary of the standards for each student, I can, or for the classes, and to see how the standards, like where students are struggling with which standard, I can get those detailed summary reports in a really awesome format. And so the level of detail that we can get is pretty awesome. We're working, I know Bobby has been working on getting even more detailed reports so that we can get like our targeted groups even more detailed reports with that. So reports are improving as we go through. One thing I also want to point out too as we go through this is if you're the type of person like me where you present to a class and then you realize you've made a mistake, you can do live edits within Formative. So let me bring you back into one of the questions. So I'm on question 18 and 19 here. Now let's say either my students aren't getting it, and so I need to break it down even further, or I would need an extension activity, or I just had a spelling mistake, because that happens quite frankly with me. I can go through and I can actually do live edits with the students. And so if you guys can look where it says submit here, I'm going to add another question. Let's do multiple choice. And now I can just say hi. And you guys should be able to see it too, and be able to see that live edits and that live data. So for me, this was also huge, because there were so many times where I would send out a Google form and they'd be like, oh my gosh, they're not, like, this question is not worded correctly, or it's not like students aren't really getting this question, or for whatever reason I need to edit it. You can't really do that if students are already in it. So this is a great way where we can do those live edits. And for me, this has been really huge and a game changer. I tend to stick with programs that I can do this. So like Canva is also one that you can do live edits with, and I am all about those live edits. All right. So with that said, let's go ahead and we're going to switch over to, I'm going to release you guys to show you what that looks like. So right now I have you guys in teacher pace mode, and I'm going to switch into student pace mode. So now that you guys are able to go through and you can see the whole formative again, and you can switch it back. But again, let's say that I have you guys on there. Oh, and I stopped sharing on that. Let me get you back on. But I can also, like, let's say you guys have it. I can again switch you back into teacher pace mode at any point. So let's say you guys weren't getting it, or I see a lot of off-task behavior. I can pull you guys back into that student pace mode at any time. So just, I'm going to switch you guys back and forth. So I just want to demonstrate that it's like super easy to switch back and forth, and for students to switch back and forth with it. All right, so now let's get into formative. So you might need to, sometimes it's a little tricky when you go from student pace mode or to looking at formative as a student to looking at it as a teacher. So you might need to log off of formative in order to do that. So if you have an account, or if you close a tab, depending on how you joined formative, but you might need to log off and log back on. You should be able to go to my account to log off. It doesn't affect everybody, but sometimes there's some weirdness when we go from viewing as a student to viewing it as a teacher. but go ahead and log off and go log back on. And I feel like you like Nick, to go on to your point, I feel like you got to keep me fed too to keep me happy. It doesn't need to be static, just keep me supplied with food. All right, and then give a thumbs up once you are on as a like once you've logged back into account, and you should see a dashboard similar to mine. This is like where I miss like having Go Guardian, where I can like see where everybody's at and like see who needs help. All right, getting lots of thumbs up. All right, and as everybody's going on to, I just want to say Formative has been very responsive as a company for what they are doing. I saw Jen join and I was like, did I record the session? But I did record the session. But like I said, it's like my fear that I always will forget it. All right, Ms. Morales, you have your hand raised.
Sorry, I pushed up a mistake.
Oh, great. I just want to make sure you're good. All right. So Formative has been very responsive as a company to try to work and to see with teachers. So if there's any suggestions you guys have for Formative, or like Formative just, I need it to do this instead, or like I have a suggestion for this, you can always like reach out to them and put in a, I think it's under support, which is like submit a support request or chat with support. Of course, reach out to SciDiteX and to us, but if you're like, Formative needs this feature, like I really wish they had this feature. They have been very responsive to getting our feedback and making sure that Formative is working in the way that we want it to. So I just want to throw that out there as everybody's logging on. So if you are like, you're finding something that's frustrating, send them the support, like give them some feedback on it, because they have been really responsive to it. They can't always guarantee that they can do it, but they'll at least talk to you about it. So with that said, to create a Formative, there's again lots of different ways we can go about creating a Formative. The way that I usually do it is if you go up to this create button here, and there's again lots of different options that you see there. I would say like if you just click on this first one, the plus Formative, it gives you all of these options within that. So I tend to ignore from lesson down, like I don't really need any of this because I can do it all in here. So just hit plus Formative. And so again, I just went to create and then plus Formative. Ignore the rest. It doesn't matter. Just ignore the rest. Just hit plus Formative. Now within Formative, now here, pay attention to these big plus buttons, because that's where you're going to be able to do things. So those big plus buttons is what we want to pay attention to. So again, it gives you kind of what it thinks that you might want to do. Right now, you probably don't see auto generate. I'll show you how you can add that feature in if you are interested in that. But if you don't see it, but if you click on add new, this is where we get the bajillion option choices that we can have. So within these option choices, just some key things. Content types are going to be like more informational things. You can pair questions with those content types. So I'll show you what that means in a second. But content types are like your information that you want for students that you can then pair with other questions. And then your question types are like the different question types you have. So if you want a multiple choice question, if you want to fill in the blank, if you want a video response, you can do any of those things. If you are looking to add in a PDF or Google Slides, or even, and I say this with a little asterisk, a Google form, you can embed and import your Google Forms and all of that stuff by going to enhance your document. So you can add in those PDFs, you can add in those slides that you have, and with an asterisk, Google Forms. And I say with an asterisk is because we were playing with it on Monday, and for some of them, it like didn't add them in, like it just ignored us, but for some of them it worked. So it's one of their newer features. Sorry, I didn't cover right into you guys. It's one of their newer features. It is one of their newer features, so I think there's still some bugs that they're working out, but I tried it with one Google form that was successful, and it does import your Google form almost exactly the way that it was laid out in Google Forms. So if you have like Google Forms that you used as a test already or as a quiz or whatever, you can import them in and then get all of that data into it. So first, I'm going to show you that enhanced document. And again, I can drag or drop pictures from here. I can pick from my Google Drive, and it is asking me to sign into my account. So just making sure that it's there. Okay, there we go. And again, we have all, it's going to automatically go to your images, but you can have your documents, you can have your PDFs, you can have your forms, or presentations that you add in. And I'm going to go ahead and just add in, just as an example, the hub slides. Actually, I'll do the kickoff slides if you guys have seen those. And now when you import Google Forms or Google Slides this way, it's going to change each slide as an image. So I can select which slides I want. So let's say I don't need this slide here, and then I can add 8 images. So now on here, it imported each slide as an image, and now I can add my questions here. So I can add my questions by either clicking on where I want that question to go or on the slide here. So I'll give you guys a minute to, if you want to like add in a document or something. And again, I went to my plus button and then enhance a document to get into my Google stuff. All right. Now, again, I can add in my questions. So there's 2 ways. One, like let's say there's already a question here. I can just click where I want to add it in. Let's say I want this a multiple choice question, and I can add it in directly there. Now, with a lot of these question types, you're going to have a lot of customizations that you can do. One thing about Formative is that they try to give you as many options as possible for whatever you would like to do it with. So I can type in my question here, and then I have my responses, and then I can select the correct answer. With multiple choice questions, again, you have so many options within Formative. So again, pay attention to the big plus buttons here, because I can, on each question type, I can also add in audio or emojis or GIFs or image or math, whatever I can add in directly here. So let's say I want students to respond by emoji. I can insert the emojis directly in there. I can also insert an image. I'll pick from my Google Drive because I don't have any images on here yet, but I'm not sure what's in here. We'll just do this one. So I can have images added directly into there as part of those question types. So again, you're not limited to just text. Now you can expand it to having lots of different choices within each one of these. And these options are available for almost every single question type with there. With question types too, you are also going to get, and depending on the question type, you are going to see like slightly different things here. But I can have answer choice explanations. So let's say when a student answers it, you can automatically get an answer choice explanation with it. If you have the AI turned on, which I'll show you later, if you have the AI turned on, you can actually have AI generate those answer choice explanations for you and then edit them to what you need. So when we were working on our digital SIT curriculum, we did this and it saved us a ton of time because we didn't have to think about those, like, why is this the correct answer when it's like you're brain dead and you just like want to go home and you need to finish this. So we can use AI within this. You can also allow partial credit. You can randomize the order, and then you can make it required. And then show your work. This will give them that drawing pad. So if you have a math question, for example, this is where I see it used the most. You want students to show their work of how they got that answer, but you just want like a multiple choice answer for them to answer it. You can add in the show your work, and students will be able to see a background or be able to have that whiteboard space so that they can show their work automatically in it. You can do this if you're an English teacher and you want to, like, which sentence directly supports this, and then upload an image of the passage, have them write notes and highlight whatever you want them to do and be able to showcase that work as well. Now, let's say I don't like images, or like I don't want an image here. I can also delete things. So these 3 little dots here, you can delete things and delete it with there. And then again, if I want to add in more question types, I just click on the plus button here, and I can add in any of those question types within there. Is there any questions right now that I can answer? Okay. I'm going to give you guys about 5 minutes to kind of explore and to like go through just like how to answer questions. I'll give you guys about 5 minutes right now to do so, and just kind of play around with it. Jump on, unmute if you want, or put in the chat if you have any questions. But I'm going to let you guys play with adding these questions into a Formative. All right, how's everybody feeling so far about adding in questions? Everybody doing okay? All right, couple thumbs up. All right, all right. Oh, I like that first. Amy, go ahead.
I was adding in some multiple choice questions and multiple select. I didn't see, where do I put the answer?
With the
like I'm thinking in Google Forms, if you're assessing where they were, is there like a different look I look at to?
So to put in, I'll make sure I understood you correctly. To put in the answer, you just select which one you want there. Yeah.
Okay, I'll try that. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions I can answer?
I don't know if you'll be able to help me with this or if it's like a problem on my computer, but I can't upload. I'm having trouble uploading my slides from Google Drive slides. And I wanted to, and I tried like screenshotting it and doing it as an image when it didn't work just direct, and it won't take the screenshot, even though I can do other screenshots from my laptop. It won't do the slide screenshot.
So I'll give you first our generic tech answer right now, which seems to be the problems, but that's just make sure your cache and your cookies and all that is cleared, because that usually messes up.
I was thinking that, and then I might also log in and log out again because I took the screenshot while I was in. And so I'm like, maybe it just can't do my brand new screenshots because it can do my old screenshots.
Oh, weird. Yeah, if you're still having issues, we'll see if we can troubleshoot that. Are you on a school or your own device?
I'm on my MacBook, which is why I'm always like, well, it might just be because of this.
Yeah, I know Apple has recently updated some things, which I think has been causing, we had a similar problem with a MacBook, or not a similar problem, but a different problem with MacBook and Google Meet. So it could just be some Apple settings too. But we'll keep working on that.
They're good for so many things. They just don't play well with others.
I know. All right. So let's, we have all these question types here. And then one thing I want to point out is, let me go bottom so I can show you guys. Again, pay attention to those big buttons, those big plus buttons, because that's where we can create things with. So I can also add in sections here, which is really great if you have students that you want to make sure that they complete a session, you want to have 3 questions that you want to make sure they do before they move on to the next 3 questions. So students, if all of those questions are required in a section, students can't move on further until they answer all of those questions if you have that set. So you can add in a section, you can have teacher notes, you can have student directions here, and again, kind of format your sections that way. So again, this is really great if you have students that are doing student paced mode and you want to make sure that they answer all the required section or questions before they go into the next section. This allows them to do that. So just so that you can see that. So again, I just went to this plus button here and I can add in that section within there. The other thing I want to point out with our question types and adding in, let's say you've given out quizzes and those check for understanding quizzes, or your weekly quizzes or whatever, and now you want to build your more formal assessment, but using some of the material that you had from those quizzes. You can do that pretty easily. So you can go to search existing items here, and this brings you to that library that I'm going to be talking about. But within this library, everything that you do, you have your formatives that you can sort through. So again, if you have those question types, and ignore mine, I have a bazillion because I was playing around with it and adding in ones from libraries from other futures too. But let's say you have those questions. So I'm going to use the Warbender together. And I want to add into these questions here. I can add in all of this source material from here. So I can add it. It gets added into my formative. Now let's say I want to go to dreams and add in dreams. I can add in this question here. And so I can search through my own formative and add in questions from my own formative. So if you add in a Google slide, the link won't work when you add it into formative. So you do need to put in the link again for the Google slide. So when slides transfer or when you import Google Slides, it makes it into an image. So it flattens everything. You can't link into everything. So you do need to re-add on the links if the students want to do it that way. So with going back to the library, so I can search through all of these. I can also look through the library itself. I'm looking on the wrong screen. I can go through the library itself and I can search, let's say I want English and I can, I don't know why it's giving me a bunch of algebra stuff, but I can search through libraries. And these are libraries for anybody that has made it public on Formative and has added into the library. So if I want to select some specific libraries, let's say I only want to search from my PLC's library or from our district library, I can do that and kind of see what's been adding in, or I can search from everything that's been added onto Formative as well. So I can see like grade 9 has their chapter 1 quiz, and I really like this question, so I'm going to go ahead and add it into there. Once I'm done adding in things, I'm going to click that X out of it. And as you can see, all of those questions are here. And so now I can edit those questions to make it fit whatever I need. Or let's say I liked the format that I had for my quiz questions, but I want a different question. I can change it. I can make it my own again. And I'll be able to do there. This looks like, let's see, reload here. This might have been a link or an image that's no longer available that I added in. But so again, you do not need to reinvent the wheel. You can use existing things within there. And I'll have to figure out why this one isn't working, and add it all directly into there. So I'm going to give you guys a minute and just to kind of play around with the library and just to kind of see. So again, I went to my plus button. I search existing items. You can search a whole bunch of library. The library is not as robust because again, it's whoever adds in things to the library. So it's all optional. But if you guys need examples, I try to do everything that I've ever done on Formative. I try to add it to the library. So you can search by my name. I keep looking at the Google Meet screen like I can click on it. So you can search by my name if you want to see examples of things I've done and just to get examples of how to add things to the library. Or you can search the library. Like I said, like the library itself is a little hit or miss, but I want us to add into it. But I'm going to give you guys like 2 minutes to kind of explore the library, to practice adding things in. Again, you can use my examples by searching my name to add them in. So I'll give you guys about 2-3 minutes to kind of explore and to look at that. Ms. Morales.
Yeah, Miss, do you say that we can get like say I have another format and I like a question, can I copy that question to the new formatted?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
I tried it once. How can I
Yes.
do that?
So if so in your library here, or go to, let me exit out. So click on the plus button to like add a new question, and then click on search existing items. And if it's from your own Formative, just go to my Formatives here. You can search for it. You can also search, like I have a lot right now. I need to like actually go
I
through
know.
my Formatives and delete some, but I can go through and see which one I want to add in. So let's say I want a PBIS one,
But
and
if
then
they
I
go
can,
that, go ahead, keep
oh,
going.
and then in the right-hand corner, I don't know, like, is it right or left? Right-hand corner here, we can go to add here.
But it copy the whole format, or I can just search for the only one question,
It will add one question at a time.
one question at a time. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I go. So what do you say again? I go to the
Yeah, if I go to the
I
plus,
add the question. I add the question. You say, I add the question, and I look for the format that I want to get the question, right? And then I click to that question. And do I have to? I can copy that question and paste it, or I just click it.
no, when you're in that question on the side here, when you kind of hover over that question or the item that you want, like the add button will appear and you just click add and it will add it in.
Okay.
And what's really nice about it is, so like now it's added in, but let's say I have a bunch of different quizzes that I want to add into this. I can't think of any other titles that I've done, but I can go back into all my formatives and I can like kind of pick and choose which ones I want to add in here. So like, let's say I've a lot of examples that I need to go through. And so I can go through and pick kind of which ones I want to add in. And I don't worry about like cleaning it up because we can clean it up later, but you can go through and kind of pick and choose the questions that you want with it. So again, don't work harder. You reuse the stuff that you already have and kind of build it in. Or if you have like some PLC stuff, you can add it into there too. Or like I said, if you just like the format of the questions, there's a lot of times where I'm like, I don't want to reinvent the format that I've already done, but I can change the content. Then just add those questions in there.
That will be tried. Thank you.
Yeah, especially if you're doing like weekly quizzes and then you want to turn those quizzes into it. All right, see some more hands raised. Miss Lissing.
Hey, Amber.
Hey.
Yeah, I just finished my first worksheet.
Oh
It took
yeah.
me forever. Nah, I'm okay. I have 38 questions. How is it automatically saved?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah. So good segue here. And so when you are creating these, it is automatically saved. So just like anything we do in Google, where it saves automatically. Same thing from here. So you don't need to worry about necessarily like clicking save on anything or anything like that. And that's also where we can get those live edits. So just remember too, if you're editing and students are already on it, they're going to see those live edits too. So just be mindful of that. All right, Ms. Morales, do you have another question?
No. I
Cool.
am my phone, so it's very sensitive. I'm sorry.
Cool. Yeah, you're good. I just want to make sure. All right, so now let's get into how we can assign these. So once we have our formative set, or at least enough to give the students what we need, and again, you can do those live edits. So if we don't do this because we're all really, really, really prepared teachers. So let's say you just need to get them their bell work, and then you can always add in things later too. So I've even done formatives where I've had students add on during the week. So this might be a great way to do your bell ringers every day. And then for the whole week, they have all of their bell ringers all in one place. And then you can grade it at the end of the week. So you can either do it by section or have it done like where each day you add in the next day's work so that students are always working from one spot, one formative. So with that, a couple key things I want to point out is you can always preview this. So I can do it as a student preview, and I can see what it looks like on different devices. And my computer's being a little slow right now, but I can look and see what it looks like on a computer or a tablet or even a phone. And one thing that is really awesome about Formative is if students forget their Chromebooks, I don't know, some of the times my students do, I'd be like, okay, pull out your phone, you're still doing the work. Because Formative can work on their phones. They can just go to formative.com and be able to do the Formative from their phone. It's not the greatest feature, but we have it. Now I know middle schools, you guys are getting the yonder pouches, doesn't really work anymore for that, but we have this feature here with that and this has been really great, where I have some kids that I know just like leave their Chromebooks at home because then they feel like they can't do the work. Get out your phone and I can still track to make sure they're actually doing the work and doing it all that way. So different ways that we can view it, but this is one way that you can see it and kind of go through it as a student to make sure everything's aligning or that it looks okay before you give it out to students. And then you want to hit assign here. So with assign, I had you guys as guest students because I don't have you guys in a Google Classroom, but you guys, we can import from Google Classrooms itself. So I can just assign this to like my period 4 students. I can assign and post in Google Classroom and have everything all in one place. So students will see this from Google Classroom itself within there. Any questions before I move on? All right. I'm going to take us back home. Ms. Lissing?
Does the grade go straight to Synergy?
Yes and no. So you can, and one of the features, here, I'll just show you guys right now. This one might be tricky because I don't have it in Google Classroom. Let's see, now that I'm like in summer mode, let's see if I can find one. So one thing, I'm just clicking on a random one here. So in your responses to Google Classroom or to Formative, you go to your responses tab. I can see how many kids have answered it correctly and how many have not. And then I can go to these 3 dots up here, and I'm going to hit grade passback. And here I have, since it's set up in Google Classroom, I can pass grades back to Google. One thing that I really like about this is I am standards-based grading. So I grade everything on a 4-point scale just because that's the way I do things. So I have a 4-point scale. So if I have like a 30-point quiz or like something, or one of my things is like an English teacher that I hated was like having to go through quizzes or assignments and like making sure I have 20 points exactly so that his grading works out or like whatever. I hated that. So one thing that you can do with the grade pass back, and it's taking, there we go. for some reason it was taking forever, is that I can change the max points here. So let's say I had 19 points on the formative, but I wanted out of 20. Or for me, I wanted out of 4. And I can grade pass back. This is a little weird because students already got a grade for this, but I can pass back those grades to the students and make it out of however many points I want to. So I can change that score at any time to make it match what I need it to reflect in the grade book or my grading systems or anything like that. So this for me is like huge also because I can focus on the quality of the questions that I'm asking and not the quantity. So I can really make sure that I'm asking like appropriate questions. And because when I tend to focus on the quantity of them, sometimes I just like throw in random questions just so I have like a good even number. But now I can change that and pass back scores to students. And then I'll send it to students and it will automatically go to Google Classroom. Now to answer Ms. Lizing's question, if I were to do this, if I had Google Classroom hooked up with Synergy and syncing with Synergy, then it would also get sent to Synergy. Theoretically, it would also get sent to Synergy as well. So it should go through. Now we know that Synergy syncing has glitches sometimes, so sometimes it may glitch when it like normal Synergy glitching, but it should. And I have had it work where I have had it sent back to Google Classroom from Formative, and then it automatically gets sent to Synergy as well. So yes, it should work as long as you're doing grade pass back with that. Any other questions I can answer?
Thank you.
Yeah, cool. While we're in here, I'm going to show you guys the grading, and I kind of previewed it a minute. And I'm going to go ahead and preview it for a minute, but if you go through here, we can just see, I can click on the question types, and I can see the frequency of which people have responded. And I can also go through and look at our settings, go through here and I can click on responses. Now I have questions set up for auto grading, but if it's like a written work where I need to actually look at it, I can select all students and then I can uncheck the ones that maybe don't get that work, and I can assign a point value to bulk amount of students. And I can do this for all classes. So let's say I have period 3 and 4 open and expanded. I can do it for all of the students and not just like for all of my classes and not just one class at a time. I can even do it for all of my students. So this has been a really huge feature. Now, this isn't necessarily the best way for me to grade like real in-depth paragraphs, but for like checks for understanding and for even like shorter paragraphs, this has been really nice to be able to grade through that way and do those bulk responses. And it also, because I get that live feedback, I'm going to jump back into this one just so I don't have students' names all on display. But when I have it through this way, I can also, again, see which students are on track and be able to like maybe give feedback from me directly or be able to give whole class feedback directly as I'm doing this. So again, this is a really great way, like maybe I'm having students work independently. I can have a tab open for my responses and be able to like go through and give live scoring and feedback as students are working, or be able to go and target students that might need extra support as they're working in class. So this has been a really game-changing tool for me, especially for those students that need extra support, need extra motivation, need extra, need me to sit down with them and like really target them through it. All right, any other questions on this part? Okay, I'm gonna let you guys explore, one more actually, before I let you guys explore. We can't add them in because we don't have our student data yet for the school year, but when on your home screen or on the sidebar here to add in those classes, you'll click on classes and then again pay attention to that create button. You can do roster sync and that will sync up your Google Classroom classes. So next week when you guys are starting to get your Google Classrooms, go to your classes, go to create and go to roster sync to be able to do those. All right, I'm going to give you guys a little bit more play time. I'm going to give you guys about 10 minutes. If you guys are okay with it, I'm not going to give you guys a formal break, and then we can end the session at noon today, because I'm going to give you guys about 10 more minutes. I'm going to show you another feature, and then I'm going to give you guys the rest of the time to work. So if you guys are cool, we can skip break and go end at noon today, or if you guys want a more formal break, we can take a break. But if everybody's cool, we'll skip the break so you guys can get out of here literally. All right, awesome. I'm going to give you guys about 10 minutes right now just to explore those features, to kind of go figure out where you go to get those rosters, or to get those Google syncing. And if you want to keep playing with question types and exploring question types, I'll give you guys about 10 minutes right now, and I'll show you the last couple features.
Ms. Dodd.
Yes.
Oh, I'm
What's
checking my volume. I'm just checking my volume. Thanks.
Wait, sorry, I lost you there.
Yeah, I don't have a question. I'm checking my volume, so.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
That's just it.
And then Joseph, I'll look into that about creating a class ROP not listed. Okay, I'll look into that and I'll talk to Jen. 30 more seconds left. A few more seconds. I don't know if anybody caught me talking there, and I definitely need to unmute. It's one of those days. All right, let's start bringing it back together. So a couple more things I want to highlight before I want to, before, I don't know if you guys could hear the beeping. I don't think you could because it was on a different tab, but I forgot to turn off the timer. Got a beeping in my ear all of a sudden. But I want to showcase another couple features of Formative and then give you guys a longer work time to go through this. So one thing that I want to point out is sharing to the library. So this is one of the ways that we can share and assign work or share work with others. And to do that is if I have this Formative and I want to share it with other people, I can publish it to the library. Now, this is going to kind of give it to a wider group where people then can borrow and take what they need from it. So this is really great for PLCs. If you have something that you've created that you want to share district-wide with like the 9th grade team district-wide or whatnot, this is a great way to do that. And you don't necessarily need to have everybody's name in order to do that. They can just search for it on the library. So how you get to the library in the Formative that you want to share, go to these 3 dots here and go to publish to the library. And now I can kind of select which ones I wanted. So this one has already been, this one hasn't been published, but I had my grade level already set for this, which is adult ed. I can assign it a subject if I want. So let's say I want to have this as ELA or whatever subject. You can also select multiple subjects if you would like. So if I also want to have this be part of searchable for Avid things, who can access this? So this could be public to anybody who's using Formative. So this could, somebody in Florida could find your Formative, or you can limit it to like Salinas Union High School District and LaSalle High School. You can do it if your PLC has a group, you can limit it that way. You can also add images for your library. I usually skip it. And then, but I do tell it what type of classwork is. So is this like a do now or warm up, homework, classwork? Most of mine are classwork, so I just keep it as that. And then what language? And then you can also put, write a description if you would like. You do not have to though. And so once you're finished with like kind of adding in the required things, you hit publish, and now I have published it to the library. It's now searchable in the library for anybody that is looking for it. So this is, again, a great way if you want to share something to a kind of a wider audience. This is a great way to do that. And I really encourage us as a district to publish our things, especially things that we do in PLCs as a district, and kind of because we all are doing really great and amazing things, and to share them and to like make each other's work a little bit easier, I'm always an advocate for. The other way that you can share is like, say you want to work with your PLC on the same Formative. So I can go again to those 3 dots here, and I can click share. And again, a couple different ways to share it. If I want just my group to be able to assign this Formative to other people, so I've given out school-wide lesson program, or like school-wide lessons, I can just share this link here with teachers, and now they can use the Formative and assign it as it is. If I want my team members to collaborate on here, I can look for my teammates here and give them editing and assign, or assign only privileges, but I can add them as collaborators for edit and assign. So now Jen is going to get a notification that she's now part of she can edit, and she can actually come in here and use Formative the way that I'm using Formative. So again, this is really, really great for PLCs where you're like, we want to create a CFA. I'm going to take question 1, you take question 2, you do 3. and you can all work on the same formative together, which is pretty awesome there. The other things I want to showcase, so that's just a couple of sharing ways. So again, you can publish to the library to share. You can also share it through the share right here. Another thing that I skipped purposely before when assigning is that when I assign it to a group of students, I can adjust the settings before I assign it. So I've talked a little bit about how formative has so many choices and what you want to do and what you can limit with it. So I can give this, I can do it as a lesson or retakes, and these are going to be recommendations that Formative has for the settings for that. Or I can just do it myself. So I can schedule open and close times. So if I'm taking a test, I can have students in third period only see it during third period with it. I can also control the amount of attempts students can have. I'm a big advocate of retakes for students. And so you can do up to 4 times for a formative that students can go in and retake it and redo it without me having to change the settings for them. And then once they've reached their retake limit, then they're done. After submission, I can also change those. So if I have this as a test, after they submit it, it's going to disappear for them. So they won't be able to see it anymore. But I can also keep it visible with no edits. So maybe they can see their scores, they can still see it. If it's a weekly quiz we're doing, I want them to see their work, I can add it that way. I can also change when I can return scores. Instantly will give students instant feedback while they're working. So just be mindful of that. I usually do after students submit now, but for some classes, I really wanted them to kind of practice getting the correct answers. It was a practice formative, a practice test like thing that we were doing in class. So I said, you need to have all greens. All of the answers need to be correct before you turn it in. So what happens when students see it in the instant one, if I have it on auto grading, they will be able to see a green or red dot if they got the question wrong or right. So this was really great for students. Initially at the beginning of the year where I was like, I need all greens before you even submit it to me, again, with practice work. And then as students started getting lazier and just started clicking answers until they got that green, then we can have that. And then yes, making the summative assessments hidden. That way students cannot take screenshots and share with others. So yes, if it is a more formal test, after they submit it, make it hidden. Then you can also change up how students see the work. So if you want each item as a separate page, you can make that. So each question will have its own, or each item type. So if you're having a paragraph or like a reading with multiple questions, that counts as one item. You can have students look at that as a separate page for each one to keep them focused. If you want them just to be able to work in sections, just have them do that. You can turn it off. You can display questions in random order. So if you're taking a formal assessment where the order of the questions don't matter, you can make it like that. I have talked to Formative about sections and being able to randomize the question order in sections, but it's not out yet. Hopefully it will be soon. And then we have secure exam browser too. So we do have Respondus. So if you have the secure browser mode on, you can, and there's different levels of security that you can do. I can't remember the differences for each one off the top of my head, but there's different levels of security. But what that means is like similar of how they would sign in for SBAC, where they would log out and they have their little apps on the Chromebook apps. They go to Formative there, and it should theoretically lock everything else down for students to take the formative. I have some teachers that use it during class mode too, like or during classwork time, where they only go to the lockdown browser in Formative so that they stay on task even more. Then you can also do this entry password if you want students with them logging in. To me, it doesn't seem necessary, but you can have that within there too. And then you can also restrict to individual students. So if I have like a retake, a special retake form that I only want certain students to take, or different versions, I wouldn't recommend doing different versions of the test because just that can get really tedious, but you could theoretically do that as well. So like however you want students to see this formative and to participate in this formative, there's lots of different options that you can take and set to that test and to that class assignment. You can change those settings at any time too if you go to responses and then go to on your student list here, there's a drop down with here and you can adjust the settings at any time. So for example, if you realize that students are getting instant scores back, you can change that setting at any different time. On here too, you can also pause the assignment so students can't, like you need students to be focused and eyes on the board and stop working. You can have them pause the assignment. And you can also close the assignment, which means that they don't do that. Spin is a new one. Oh, spin. I was gonna say Formative makes a lot of changes sometimes, like little changes. So spin, you can also have now where you can click on spin and select a student to respond if you want to do it that way. So we have it there. So again, you can change those settings at any time by going to responses, then clicking on guest students, or clicking on your class and the drop down menu next to your class, and then closing the assignment or adjusting the settings directly through here. So you are in total control of Formative, of how you want students to see it, how you want to participate and interact with everything. So total control within there. And then the last thing I want to show you guys, and then I'll give you full exploration time, is if you guys go down to the sidebar here, so I clicked on the hamburger here, and then go to my account, click on account info. So again, I went to my 3 dots, went to my account and account info. And here I can kind of change what students call me or what they see, the school, like what groups I'm a part of. Your site EdTech should put you guys into your PLC group, so you'll probably see that there as well. And then I'm going to click on this advanced settings here. Oops, sorry. With that, you can change all of that. But then if you go to my account and then go to your settings here, this is where you can have like your notifications. So this is kind of like your automatic setup. So if there was a response edited after you graded something, if you have that turned on where the students can edit, you can get notifications, and like you'll see a notification bar and you will get notifications if that, so you can easily kind of track to see which students. You can receive submissions, and I recommend not turning this one on without the late submission. So like, let's say only because you'll get notified for every time student submits, and that's like no fun. So I have it turned on, but only for late submissions. So if a student turns it in late and I've allowed for late submissions, I can like get notified there and I can know to check that work. If a student requested a hint, I can turn it on. And if I need to add co-teachers to a class, I can turn it on there and be able to save there. I can also select the standard sets that I want to appear. So I'm not seeing all of the standard sets at once, but I can turn on the standard sets that I want to add and be able to have those standards if I'm adding standards into questions. So I can have that all there. The other thing I can do under my account and settings is the score threshold. So if you have a different score threshold, you can actually set those score thresholds and be whatever category you want. So however you want your color system set up, you can change that within Formative as well, and that's going to be the default. And then we have our default value here, and then our default assign option. So if you tend to assign classwork the exact same way, like I want to change mine to after student submits, I can set that so I'm not having to change those settings every single time if it's a common setting for me. So if I want to display each item as a separate page, or how students like receive their feedback and grades and see that, I can change that to make it my default. And again, that's under account and my settings. Now the fun one, if you want to play around with AI with Formative, is make sure that your beta is turned on. I hear I'm losing my voice a little bit, so sorry guys. But here we can play around with the AI creation. So we noticed something on Monday where if you already had AI in there, you had to go back into your settings and make sure your AI was turned on in case you lost it. But here we can have your AI content creation, so you can turn that on, get AI writing feedback, assignment pinning, all of that stuff, whatever you want to play with Formative in their beta format, you can do. So if you want to play around with using the AI creation or even student writing feedback within Formative, you can. So Formative does have now where you can give student work feedback using their AI, and then you can edit and stuff before you send it to students. So if you're interested in that at all, make sure this is turned on. If you don't want to touch it at all, you can turn it off. So again, that's under my account and my settings. All right, any questions that we have? So rich text, so assignment pinning, those are kind of like newer features in rich text. I haven't played around with rich text too much, but basically they are giving more editing, like format editing choices within the formative. So that one was fairly new, or it is fairly new, but it's, if you turn it on, it's going to kind of change your layout, or like the screen that you see for formative, and give you more editing choices, like how to bold fonts or the font choices, things like that within formative. Those are pretty new features. So I haven't played around with them too much. I haven't turned them on. One reason I haven't turned it on yet is because I didn't want to mess up this presentation and like have it be completely different for me and not be able to reverse it. So today I want to be starting to play with it more so that I just don't want to mess it up too much. And then assignment pinning, I think, is that where you can actually pin assignments for your classes or like something that you do often and be able to pin it. But again, those are kind of newer features, so we haven't played around with them too much there. All right, and if you are interested in the AI creation, you can, there's a couple ways that we can do it. So if, again, you can go to create, you can auto-generate a formative, which we've had mixed results with. So you can give it a topic, give it a grade level, and have it generate a formative based on the topic that you've given it. The other way that you can give or do AI is that if I have a slide, so let me use my other formative, you can insert a slide or PDF and have it generate questions based on that slide or PDF. Played with it. Again, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. I've had to do a lot of editing when I've used AI, but at least it's given us like the initial start with it. And then the last place with those feedback forms, let's see if it will do it on this one, is if I have a written response, or if I have a response, and I don't have great examples, but like, let's say I had a response there, down here where it says add enriched content, you should be able to do an AI choice here. This one's weird because I don't have an example or anything that's pinned in there, but you should be able to see the AI and give written feedback with AI informative. And you will be able to edit it and everything before you send it off to students as well. So with that said, we have about 20 minutes right now. So if you guys want, I'm going to give you guys full play time to try to create your formatives or to explore formative a little bit more. I will be here to answer questions, so feel free to unmute, type it into chat, whatever. But I want to give you guys some time right now to really dive deep and hopefully be able to create a formative before you leave today. With that said, I want to share some things on the slide. There's a lot of resources, including informative. Let me show the formative one first. In the sidebar informative, it says support, and you can actually get training center and a help center within formative as well. So if you are like stuck on something, you can check there if you want to get help or get a little bit more training from formative directly. The other thing that I want to share is on our slides for today, there's a lot of resources. So I have Ethan McDaniels from Elsa Cells, formative slides and how to like create the formative, Stephen Elliott's presentation on formatives, and then some other resources within formative as well. So a couple of resources to point to. But I'm going to give you guys, I'll give you guys about 15 minutes right now so we can jump in and do our feedback at the end. But feel free to unmute to do whatever you need to do, but we'll come back together. Mimi, what's up?
Sorry, I was waiting for you.
Oh,
I'm doing a short answer one, right? I'm sorry, I'm doing a test, so I know what to do. It is requiring a correct answer, but I wanted it to check personally. How do I do that?
For short answer, it shouldn't. Let me go back here. You might be in a different question type. So, because for short answer, it shouldn't require an answer.
Right there, short answer. It says add a correct answer.
Oh, you can ignore it. So
Okay.
that is totally optional. So with that, so if you have something that students need to write, like, so for example, you're a language teacher, they need to write out a sentence exactly as like it is.
Uh-huh.
Then you can add a correct answer and it will auto score for you. If you don't need it, ignore it.
Yeah, but let's say the answer is not typing, it's more writing. Like they have to write their answers. They
Yeah,
have
that's
to
fine.
solve a problem. Can that happen here? How do I do that?
So solve a problem, like one thing you can do is the drawing feature. So in your answer
Okay.
choices,
Okay. So
if you go to drawing, that's going to give them that whiteboard here. And so you can't see it on their end. On their end, you'll see the whiteboard. But if you click on edit background, this is where if you have a graph you want to, there is a graph in question, but like say you wanted to add a graph here, or I had a screenshot of a paragraph, or I have even had like different other graphics that I wanted them to like draw and annotate on. You can do that in this one and add a background, or you just leave it blank so that they have a workspace.
so okay, it's better to be in drawing rather than short answer or okay, I got you.
Yeah,
I'll
it
try
depends.
it. Yeah, I'll try it right now. Thanks.
Yeah, it depends on what you want students to do with that question.
Yeah, it's a problem solving and they have to show their work.
Yeah. So, and then another thing, don't forget, is like if you have like a short answer, like you want them to type in an explanation. So like, especially for math and science people, you want them to come to a correct answer. You want to practice those language skills and have them justify why they got the answer they got. You can do short answer and have them type in their question or do one of the other, like there's a longer answer choice.
Yeah, the
free response.
Free response.
Yeah, you can have them do a free response, but let's say you still want them to show the math. Click on show your work, and they're going to have that whiteboard space. Yeah. So a lot of the questions, you can click show your work, and it's going to give them that background or that whiteboard space, and you can edit that background. So say you have something you want them to annotate on or something directly. You're a social studies teacher, and you want them to color code a map. You can add that in to almost any question type.
Okay.
There.
Okay, I'll try that right now. Thank you.
Yeah, Ms. Morales.
I have a question. When you say the answer is instantly, I always try that, but I had an issue last semester when I said it like that and multiple choice questions. So the kids start like changing until they get the correct answer. Is any way I can control that or it's not?
Yes. So in your settings, when you go to assign or go to your default settings here.
Right now I don't have my Chromebook because I forgot my charger and I not home. But if if you can show me where to go, I can try it.
Yeah. So if you go to when you go to assign the work, so there's two ways that you can change it. One, when you go to assign it to your class, click on adjust settings here. And it's going to be under after submission, or sorry, return scores. Make sure it's after student submits or when closed. Make it sure it's not on instantly here.
Also, why put the submission after the student submitted?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so that way they cannot go back and fix it.
Yeah, and then with that said, too, because you're going to be doing this often, I would go to your My Account settings, and there you have your default settings here, where it says like you have all these choices. Just make your default after student submits, and then you don't have to change it every time.
Oh, okay, I see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And then Joseph, to answer your question, you can check with the CTE coordinator on the settings or the standards. I'm pretty sure it's the ones Formative has added in. So if you are as an ELA teacher, as long as I know I'm using the Common Core settings, it should be, or standards, then it should be fine. But if you see standards that are not in there that should be, let me know and I'll reach out to Formative to make sure they get added in.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to explore that one that you said load down the old papers or the questions, but unfortunately I forgot my charge it.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if I can load down Formative from my cell phone.
You can. So Formative is not an app. You can go to the website from it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Editing is a little trickier just because your phone is so small compared to your laptop screen.
Yeah, I know.
But technically you can do everything. It's just go to formative.com from your web browser on your phone and you can log in that way. So this, I've used my phone before when I've had to walk around the room and I didn't want to carry my laptop with me. I've been able to use my phone or my iPad to be able to carry around with it. So as a quick way to check.
And you say you will be have some links that we can go in case we have questions, so we can check those links. You will be
Yeah.
mailed to us.
It's in today's slides. Let me pull them back up. It's in today's slides. As you can, I don't know. There we go. And then Ms. Gonzalez, I see your hand is raised.
Yes, thank you. I don't know if this might just be a problem on my end. I was wanting to go into Synergy and see if I could take some of my items that I've made in Synergy and put them into a formative, but I can't seem to log into Synergy today. And I don't know if that's just for me or if that's an issue. And then I guess related to that, I know there's been talk in other years that we won't be able to use the assessment function on Synergy. Is that true, or will we still be able to do assessments in Synergy, or is the move really to move them all over to Formative?
I know the direction is to move them all over to Formative. I'm not sure on the timeline for that. I know there were some issues with Synergy because it was on our chat yesterday, but I haven't fully looked at my chat since yesterday, or like to be able to catch up to it. So I think there are some weird things going on there. And as Stevie pointed out, that it took a long time, and it's still the old list. They have not updated the new list yet.
I think I can answer that question.
Go ahead, Mimi.
I was able to log into Synergy right now, Deidre. I'm in Synergy. That's why I'm copying, but
okay.
There is you can go to Synergy right now and look at your questions, but there is no way that we can cut and paste. And
No.
I know that we still have Synergy for this year.
Yes.
Just this year. I hope the year after that, but
I know you're a diehard Synergy assessment fan.
Because my bank is there now. That was my question too. Is there a way that I can have a bank in Formative rather than a library? I know that there is a library, right? And it says there by me or something, but I want it to be per topic instead of everything. So is there a way that I can do, let's say, for forces only, for vectors only, like bank for each one?
Yeah, so I noticed, so Formative has an item bank now, but again, that's like one of the other newer features that I haven't played around with. Let me play around with it, because I think the item bank is what you're looking for with there, but I'm not entirely sure yet of like how we're adding things to that item bank or how things are being included, but I'm pretty sure that's where Formative is going with that. So I'm gonna add it to my like list of things to check into with Formative, but I'm pretty sure that's what that item bank is for. All really good questions, guys. Keep them coming if you have them. Yeah, Nancy, let me go back in. Let me grab a Formative that I have. I can do that. So one way that you can prospect scores, I don't want to add into this. Okay, so once you have your scores and you want to pass them back, go to your responses tab of that Formative, and then you're going to click on the 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner, and you're going to click Grade Passback. And from here, this is where if you've assigned it in Google Classroom, you can pass back grades to Google. And so I'm going to select my classes, and then if I want, I can show the scores to students, but then I can also change the max points. So let's say I really just want this to be out of 10 points. This is not a great example because I don't have a current class to show like that I haven't graded yet. But if I had points, if students didn't have an assignment yet or scores of anything yet, it would automatically change the scores to whatever the max points. So it will keep the percentage, but it will change the scores with it. So I'll be able to see that. And then I can click send, and it sends them to Google Classroom, and then students can look at them in Google Classroom. One more thing that I just remembered, when you go into Google Classroom, it is going to just do it as a draft, so it won't submit it to students. So you might still need to go in and like return the work to students so that they can see their scores. So that is one other step you might have to take in Google Classroom, is that it will make sure you submit it, because I have run into that a little bit before. But it's one step versus having to copy and paste scores over and over and over again. Go ahead, Ms. Morales.
If when I want to print the assignment, is any way I can set out so doesn't look for one individual answer on one page?
Yes. So if you like to print it or or just to
Yeah,
assign
to print it. No, to print it because sometimes the students don't have access to the formative, or we have problems with that. I had to have like extra copy, hard copy, but sometimes looks weird because they have the questions for one question each page, so I had to print like 18 copies, 18 pages.
I haven't run into that. Let's play around with it. So if you did want to print with that,
Yes, if I
good
wanna
question.
print it instead of put it online.
Yeah. And Nick, I see your question, and no, I don't want to kid you. I'm about ready to my cat keeps running outside and catching fleas, so I don't want any more cats. He's been banned to the garage because he keeps running outside. All right. Okay, so with that, to print, if you go to your three dots here, click on print, and you can click on the blank formative. So that's what you would want with students. And then you can also, I didn't talk about rubrics, but with the certain question types, you can also embed the rubric with it so that you can grade using the rubric that's already embedded in there. Click preview, and it's thinking. Okay, so I think what might be happening with it seeing, because this is what it looks like in print view for this question. I also want to point out, because this is the formative that I'm using, News ELA, it actually works with formative now too. So if you find something and in your school site has News ELA, you can actually put it into formative and assign it through formative instead. So that's what I did for a lot of my quick opener, just read a current news article, get them practicing reading stuff. So mine shows up like this. So what I would think is happening for yours, if it's showing up as one page, is go to the settings or go to assign. Sorry, there's an easier way to get there. Go to your class and go to this little button here and adjust your settings, and make sure that the display each item as a separate page is turned off, because I think that's probably what's happening is you have that turned on, and then that's why when it prints, it's going to print out each individual page as well. So just make sure that this is turned off. And again,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right. Yeah, I had to check that. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. Thank you.
Well, and that's a good reminder too that our settings affect, if you were to print something, our settings are going to affect the printing as well. So just double check with that. All right,
Thank you, Miss Dot.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, good questions. We are about at our time, so I want to make sure we do have session feedback. Let me get it set up. I will stay on for however long as there are questions. So if you have more questions you want to play around with me right here being able to answer those questions, feel free to. But go ahead and make sure you fill out our feedback form. This is how we can make changes and adjustments and make sure that you guys are getting what you need out of these sessions. So the feedback form, let me just make sure I typed it in correctly. All right. So feedback form is there, but I really appreciate you guys giving up a little bit of your summer vacation to spend some time with me and us today to learn about formative and to spend 2 hours on formative. I really give you guys kudos. Make sure you fill that out today before we leave. Thanks, Gloria. And have a watch this summer. There's a lot of great sessions signed up, a lot of on social emotional learning. So if you haven't looked at the other sessions yet, highly recommend, because there are really great sessions that are coming, and we have a lot of speakers that are presenting. Bye, Stevie. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Miss Dot. Thank you so much.
Bye. And I'm still here
Bye.
anytime you need.
Bye. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Go get some lunch and some more coffee. Bye, everybody. I hope you guys all enjoy the rest of your day, too. Bye, Stella. Goodbye. And of course, if you guys have any more questions, I'm here, or anytime you can email me, let me know. I have a phone in my office now, so it's kind of exciting.
Miss Dodd, are you able to hear me?
I can hear you.
You were my teacher.
I knew your name looked familiar. What are you doing here?
Yeah, you were my teacher back when I was a freshman.
I know, it was so long ago.
Yeah, but it was back in 2015.
Yeah. But what are you doing now?
I teach over at La Paz. I teach history.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, I wrapped up my first year and now I'm in year 2, and I knocked out my credential program, my master's program. So right now, yeah, I'm coming in strong year 2.
I love it. I think you were the first student that I've had that's come back as a teacher.
Oh,
Like,
really?
I think you're the first one, or at least that I know of. Like, yeah, I'm so
Yeah,
happy.
yeah, but I'm there at La Paz, so hopefully, and I was thinking maybe in a year or two, looking into going to Alisal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you gotta go back to your roots. I just realized we're still recording. I'm gonna
yeah,
change it.
most definitely. Are you still at